Okay, just come back from Saga, did a full weekend, well, more than a weekend of smoking different meats, and surprisingly, this is all we have left. It's a brisket. Browsing through my YouTube the other day, and All Things BBQ popped up with a BBQ lasagna, and I thought that is a great idea. But they had three different types of meat. I'm just going to use the brisket. Also, when I usually make a lasagna, I make a bechamel, but the ricotta sounded awesome, so I'm going to actually make my own ricotta, and I'm going to make my own barbecue sauce. I'm going to make the barbecue savoury, not too much sweetness in it, and I've already made up my own little barbecue rub that I'll add to it, and I've got two types of cheese. I've got a cheddar, and in my opinion, much better than Parmesan is grana padano. Going to start with the barbecue sauce. So, just got one onion diced up there. And we're just going to caramelize this up a little bit. It's going to take maybe 5-6 minutes, and then we'll come back. Alrighty. Once your onions look like that, they've just been in there for a few minutes. I've grated up a carrot. I'm going to put that in there, and then we'll continue cooking this down and getting it all nice and caramelized on a medium heat for a few more minutes. My thought process behind this barbecue sauce is how I would actually go about making a meat sauce for a normal lasagna. Except, I'm going to change up a few different things, and then after all this is cooked down and I've added everything else, I'm going to be pureeing it with an immersion blender. If your carrots start to stick a little bit, just go ahead and add a little bit of salt to start with. And the salt will help draw out the moisture of the carrots. And then if they continue starting to stick after that, you just add a splash of water. Not too much, just a little bit. And keep cooking them down. Alright, once you've got a good caramelization going on your carrots and onions, as I said, once it starts to stick a little bit, you just add a little bit of water and deglaze and keep cooking them down. And once they look like this, go ahead and add in your garlic and a good squirt of tomato paste. Looks good. And then your little barbecue rub, whatever barbecue rub you're going to use. About a teaspoon of that. And incorporate all that. And cook it off a little bit, about a minute or two. Alrighty, once you've cooked this off for a minute or two, and just before it starts to burn on the bottom of your pan, you're going to go ahead and add some passata. That's 500 grams of passata. And just go ahead and fill it up about a quarter of the way again, and wash the pack out, and add that to your sauce as well. Now you're just going to incorporate all this, and then we're going to let it cook down. Alright, so at this point, just going to go ahead and add a little bit more salt. And the secret ingredient. Ketchup mayonnaise. Pitmaster X knows what's up. Alrighty, so we got this, and then we're going to pour, that's probably 1-2 tablespoons in. Now, for the people who don't know, this is a sweet soya sauce, and it's quite thick. So, apart from the caramelizing the carrots and the onions and also the tomato paste, this is the only sweet thing we're actually going to be adding to the barbecue sauce. So now we're just going to keep this on a medium to low heat and just let it reduce down and cook out a little bit. Probably 30-40 minutes. Alrighty, I've had this bubbling away for about 20 minutes now. And at this point I'm going to transfer it into a smaller pot and then try not to splash it everywhere. And then we'll blend it up with the immersion blender. Okay, once you've got you've tipped it all into the pot and cleaned up all the splatter, because there's definitely going to be some. You're just going to blend it all up until it's nice and silky and smooth. Alrighty. As you can see, I've got it all pured up, nice and smooth. At the moment, it's really thick, and it's just going to get even thicker. So I'm going to leave it how it is. I've already tasted for seasoning, and it's okay. I added a little more. And I'll let this cool down in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow I may add a little bit of water or some other liquid just to thin it out a little bit when we add it to the lasagna. To make the ricotta, I've just got 2 liters of milk starting to heat up over on the stove here. And I've also got my pot that I'm going to strain it in, prepared onto the side. So I've just tipped the milk in and turned the stove on. I've got about 2 teaspoons of salt here. You just want to keep your eye on it and just keep agitating it every now and again, because you don't want it to stick on the bottom. Now we're going to bring this up to about 80 to 90 degrees. So just have your instant read thermometer handy there. And once it gets up to that temperature, we'll come back. As you can see, right now my temperature is sitting right at around 83, which is good enough for me. I can see it's already got a little bit, you know, some steam coming up, and it's getting a little bit foamy. It's just before it's going to start to simmer. So I'm going to turn the heat off, and on my stove I have to slide it across there. Then I've got 4 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm going to tip that in, and then just stir that around for 3 or 4 seconds, like that. And I'm going to stop. And I'm going to set a timer for 6 minutes. And once that goes off, we'll come back. Okay, after your 6 minutes is up, you should be left with something like this. And you just want to carefully ladle it into your strainer. Once you've got most of it ladled in, you can go ahead and pour the rest in. Usually when I've done this in the past, I've put some cloth cheese or something like that down. But today I haven't, so I'm not sure how long it's going to drain. Well, usually when I use some linen or something like that, it takes about 20-25 minutes to drain off. But we'll just keep an eye on it. I think it's only, since I haven't used any cloth, it's probably only going to take about 10-15 minutes. So we'll come back and check it then. So, it's been just over 10 minutes now. And the ricotta's fully drained. Nice and creamy. Just want to transfer it into another bowl. There you have it. Homemade ricotta. You just got to put it in the fridge to chill. As you can see, I got my ricotta here. Now this is a double batch of what I made, because I thought I was going to need some more. So I'm going to go in here with 2 teaspoons of salt. And a good heaping teaspoon of the barbecue rub. Also, I've got 3 eggs I've beaten up. I'm going to tip that in. And then we'll just mix all that into it, incorporate. Probably should have got a bigger bowl, but anyway, I'll struggle through. Also, as you can see, the sauce is thickened up quite a lot. So I'm just going to get about a half a teaspoon more of the rub. Make it a teaspoon. Full teaspoon. And then just add a little bit of water. And just mix that in to get a more thinner consistency. As you can see, it's still quite thick, but it's a lot thinner than what it was. So, alrighty, as you can see, I've got everything laid out here. I've got just over 1 kilo of brisket that I've cut up into, pieces. I've got a mixture of cheddar and grana padano here. I've got the barbecue sauce, the ricotta, and the pasta sheets. So, I've also lightly greased the baking dish. So we'll go down with a little bit of the sauce first. Pretty much, I'm going to do this how I would build this how I would with a normal lasagna. So, go down with that. Then with some pasta sheets. And I'll go in with some brisket. Alright, then after you got the layer of meat, just go in with a bit more sauce. And then some cheese. and some ricotta. Alrighty. Pasta. Should have used a bigger dish. Now, once you've got it all packed up, I seriously overestimated the amount of meat I was actually going to need for this. But I am going to be, I might even put that in the freezer, and then I'll use that for some tacos or something one day, or some wraps that will do up pretty kind of good. So, back to this though. We're going to put this on another sheet in case it spills over, which I don't think it should do. And then it's going to go into a 200-degree oven for 40 minutes. Once it's been in the oven for about 40 minutes, you're going to take it out. And if you want to burn your mouth, you can eat it right away. But I think it's better to let it sit for at least 20-30 minutes before you cut into it. Once you've let it sit for about 30 minutes, 20-30 minutes, or however long you can stand not to cut into it. Ooh, I just got a big waft of smoky brisket as I took that out of there. It smells absolutely amazing. Okay, now comes the best part. Time to eat it. I was a little worried that the pasta wouldn't cook, but it's cooked absolutely perfectly. It tastes absolutely amazing. I mean, I didn't have exceptionally high hopes for this, but it's really, really good. The sauce completely makes this dish. Obviously also with the brisket that we smoked for, what was it, 16 hours or something it took us to cook. It's a great way to use leftover brisket.